You can support this show at patreon.com/ASAPodcasting. Welcome to a Skyrim Addict podcast, where I will discuss my adventures and misadventures through Skyrim. Join me. Add your stories, add your tales. Let's get into this thing. Still need to make that closer somehow. Skyrim Podcast 147. Welcome to Michelle in the chat. I am here. I'm Michael. I am here with Ray.
Evening.
I like randomizing the names and making people guess who's going to be next. Victor.
Pick me.
Hi.
And joining us, maybe regularly?
I hope so.
Hopefully. Steven?
Absolutely. And if it's going to be a regular thing, you should just call me Steve.
Okay.
No offense now.
I didn't, yeah, everybody, I don't know. I don't know how people prefer their names.
No, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
You may remember his dulcet tones from this show. And, of course, from Skyrim Book Club. A.k.a. the Audible of Skyrim.
Yes, and welcome.
And
Thank you. It is a pleasure to be in the presence of the mod father, Victor. Thank you for having
yeah,
me.
that's for sure.
Hardly.
The open world, as we all know.
Yeah, the open world.
You've been doing some videos over there.
Yeah, actually, well, last night I streamed for an hour and a half or so. Steve was there, and several other people from the group, and one or two other people joined in. Don't know who they were. That's okay. That was fun. It was just an experiment for sort of my new format for the Skyrim Fits and Starts. And also playing with and learning how to use OBS. So I've had the last several days. Well, I had the long weekend off and stuff, and had a lot of time to myself over the last few days. So it was nice to just experiment and play around.
I have a question about that, if you don't mind, actually.
Please go ahead.
I really like the various means and ways that you randomize. The tarot card was very cool. I'm an old school D&D player too, so the polyhedrals just struck a chord. And not to impugn your creativity, but I wondered, ASA has this fantastic random character generator. Was there a particular reason that you kind of wandered from that? Like, you guys did it with the roundtables for years, right?
Yeah, well, because that's the round table, and I want to keep that as a round table thing, that's fun. That's great when I want to do a round table, or if we go back to a Skyrim, or when I do a Fallout character. But I like the sort of the interactive randomness, as it were, of rolling dice and drawing cards and doing the story cubes and things like that. It gives you and the sort of the fits and starts idea is to try to do it as much on the fly as possible, which is hard for me. I mean, I'm not as creative. What's the word? Improvisationally creative as like Stu is over at Character Crusade. But it's fun it's a good exercise to try to come up with something on the fly like that live, it's
a muscle too, by the way.
It's a little
muscle,
scary.
Right?
Yes, it is, definitely.
You'll get there for sure the more you do it.
Well, Victor, now I missed the stream. Did you roll all ones?
No, but Adam had to mention that. So,
oh man!
And I chose not to respond when he did. But no, I didn't roll all once.
Oh, nice.
And besides, I wasn't rolling a D20. I was those seemed to be my nemesis. But I rolled a D10 for the Atronach stones and for my race, and I rolled a D4 for magic, mage, warrior, thief, and just figured if I rolled a 4, I'd just re-roll. It's kind of hard to do a 3-sided die.
Yeah.
Yeah, but one could try.
That would be
perhaps,
interesting.
a virtual one. Yeah. I'll go to Roll20 or something. Anyway, yeah. So that's it. And then Steve had some good suggestions that I'm going to try for the next one for just rolling skills and things like that.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get too what's the word? One of the things that I've always had an issue, or up until especially 5th edition, and I never played 4th edition D&D at all. It had a lot of criticism for being just way too granular. And that was some of the things that I felt about D&D way back when I played. It was just it was too restrictive, and 5th edition is much more analogous to a sort of a Skyrim version of D&D where it's it's a little more open ended, and I like that.
It's fast and loose and beautiful. It's such a good system. Absolutely,
yeah, it really is.
4E was like a treadmill. Really, that's the dirty secret of 4th edition.
Yeah,
I played a couple years of that, and it's a lot of fun. But yeah, it's just everything scales with your character. Like you never really exceed the world in any particular way, if the DC on something is 5 when you're level 1, well, your skill goes up 10 points, suddenly the DC is 15, or so on. It was a treadmill. It was a treadmill basically.
Yeah.
But a fun game nonetheless.
Yeah, no, there's no criticism on my part. It's just, I never played it. And B, I heard a lot of people sort of complain about that aspect of it, and so the transition to 5th edition seems like it's very sort of analogous to go from Morrowind to Skyrim or something, and so anyway, I like to have a little bit of flexibility, so I don't want to roll too many things that are going to sort of lock me in. But the danger of that, of course, is that you always sort of fall back on, oh wait, after 3 or 4 levels and several hours of play, I'm back to being a sneaky archer again.
How'd that happen?
What a surprise. Yeah. So
hey, look, 1 million players can't be wrong.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
7 billion archers served, right?
Stealthily served, as a matter.
That's right.
Yeah.
You just wake up and there's a burger in your pocket.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, Victor and I are both wearing Fallout shirts tonight. You can't see
and
mine.
we're talking about D&D.
Yeah, and we're talking about
Skyrim
D&D. Yeah. I have the red ink, so you can't really see it. But do we have a prediction for what this Bethesda thing is that popped up today?
Oh, I don't know about today. All I knew about was Rage.
Oh no, was it the screen showing the bobblehead and the "We'll be back soon" screen or whatever?
Oh, really?
So it's changed now.
Oh, has it changed?
So the bobblehead's laying down. It's covered in a green blanket.
Oh God!
And okay. They just took the watch away. There was a watch.
So
basically, they're screwing around with everybody.
Yeah, they're really just jerking the change.
Is this going to?
I saw that on Facebook, and I didn't realize it was actually something that was really going on. I thought it was something that either Andrew did or somebody. I saw some comments, but I didn't. I was blazing by and didn't pay much attention. So there actually is something happening.
Yeah.
Interesting. So E3 is what, next weekend or the weekend after?
I'm not sure.
No, so I think their announcement is on the 9th.
Okay, so a week from Sunday.
So that's going to sit up there until then, isn't it?
Oh, they just turned the lights out.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what's going to happen? They're going to turn it back on, and it's going to be a Funko Pop's Dovahkiin or something like that. Yeah. And then everybody's going to go insane.
Oh, yeah. I had tweeted out earlier on the Skyrim Addict Twitter something about being upset if we get another Fallout, like a full-fledged, like pretty large-scale Fallout game of any kind without any Elder Scrolls love. I'd be pretty upset.
That'll be kind of annoying.
Yeah.
But if it did happen, especially if it's a Fallout on a completely new engine, then we can be almost 100% certain that an Elder Scrolls will not be far behind.
Yeah, be coming down the road.
Yeah. So,
and really let them make their mistakes on Fallout.
Exactly.
Eh?
Yeah, there's that. That's a good point.
Work out the kinks for us Skyrim players.
Andrew will never hear this. So let's...
I like to antagonize him on a regular basis. I've been refusing to do a terminal show for like a year and a half now, just because he wants me to do it.
I did it and then committed suicide immediately after grabbing the bobblehead. Or I did the bobblehead and committed suicide after that.
Well, it's such a reversal for Andrew too, because for years there he played nothing but Skyrim, and now it's
yep.
So yes, but
so they must have something up their sleeve, I mean, the rumors have been bandying about a Fallout 3 Redux for the consoles and most likely Switch. There was the Morrowind rumor, actually.
I don't know why they do that when there's so much in the modding community already happening with that. Why go there?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, unless it was something they could farm out to somebody else to do.
Yeah, it's possible.
You know what I mean? To put it on something updated. I don't know. Maybe that's some.
Or they're revisiting Vardenfell or something like that with something completely new. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm thinking something Switch wise, most likely.
That would be that's the best guess. So Fallout 4 for the Switch.
I can't see Fallout 4 going to the Switch though.
Why not?
I don't think it has the capability to run everything on it.
Well, SE is the same engine.
Yeah, true.
But, sort of. I mean, it's.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So,
but with all the building and everything else, that seems like it would be awfully taxing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Is there a VR version of Fallout? Like, could that be something we would see?
You know
what they did with Skyrim? Oh, I didn't know. Sorry.
Yeah. That might have even come out before the Skyrim did.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Because it came out on PC.
Oh, okay. Did it come out on consoles?
That's dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sean has a Rift. I don't know if he played Fallout or not.
Did it come out for PSVR?
I don't think Fallout has, no.
No, okay. Yeah, well, I have Skyrim.
And Skyrim VR hasn't come out on PC.
Oh, okay. That's weird. So that's not out on PC, and Fallout isn't out on PS. Okay.
Are you sure? I feel like in the Steam store.
Oh, wait. I think Skyrim VR is on PC.
Yeah, I don't mean to be a jerk, but because I can't.
Yeah, because Gopher has been doing a Skyrim VR.
Yeah, I think that.
How do I watch that?
On Gopher's, he's doing it on his live streams, I think.
No, I mean, like, how do I get the VR experience watching his video? Is it like 3D?
Yeah, it's very
3D
strange,
with
No,
it would just look lousy.
It looks. Well, let's see. It looks even more frenetic than watching somebody who's on some kind of methamphetamine playing Skyrim, because it's your head's jerking around more than your mouse does. So I find it really difficult to watch. Plus, you have the little. So I can show them in my video feed here. You have the little hand things. The controller view. I find it really annoying. It's to watch, and it's probably easy for the person who's playing it if you're used to VR at all. When you look, you're looking at the menus and you're making things happen with either the controllers or your head movements or whatever. But to watch it happen, it's even worse. It reminds me of the first time I actually watched this, and this goes way back. But I actually watched a 3D game like Doom on a PC. It was a rather disorienting experience. Your eyes.
This is really weird too. So it is out. It came out April 2nd on Steam.
Yeah,
but when you have a shield and a sword in your hand, you can't see your hands. But when you go to use magic, all you see is your hands.
Yeah. It's bizarre. Yeah, I only made it about 5 minutes before wanting to throw up. So. yeah. And Michelle just said he only made it like 10 minutes, and that was enough for him. So.
I've played with a Rift, and like I said, Sean has one, and I guess it's a genetic thing or something. It doesn't bother me at all. I've never been seasick in my life, or had motion sickness. That doesn't bother me. I just don't like the experience of having that headset on.
Yeah, I don't think that's something I would like for very long anyway, if I even could do it. So
To be honest, I'm more scared of it than anything else because it'll get better, right? you know it'll get better.
That's a good point.
And then we'll reach this point where, like, I'll be 50 and my kids will like hate me because they'll be teenagers and they'll just be gone. And I'll come home and I'll kiss my wife and I'll lay down on the couch and I'll plug into the Matrix.
Yes.
I'll just disappear, right? Like it's at least a little bit, like, even on the computer, you're not doing a lot, but you're moving your hands, you're in the world, blah blah blah. But I'm convinced, like, I have that kind of personality that you just plug me in, you'd come down, you'd find me 2 days later, like in an adult diaper with an IV. Like, what are you doing? I'm trying to grind my alchemy. Leave me alone.
Yeah, it's Ready Player One.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I can see that. Yeah, because at some point it's not going to be as clunky as it is right now to move around and all blah 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 and all that, and the headset won't be as big and all that will come down.
And you'll be in a massage couch that'll carefully massage your muscles. They won't atrophy over the days that you're going to be sitting there, and a little IV and everything.
Your bones will turn to gelatin and you'll slide out of the chair.
Yeah.
It'll be like WALL-E.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was so good. I was telling my kid about that actually. But yeah, just floating around in your chairs.
Yeah, just riding in the chair.
Fucking nutrient drinks.
Takes you to the pool, takes you back. Takes you to the pool, takes you back.
Does it dunk you in the pool? Because they never get out of these things, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't think they went in until they accidentally got dumped when the ship crashed almost. But I watched WALL-E. It's one of my favorite Pixar's, probably WALL-E. The first half, I think, is probably the best Pixar. Not to go completely off the rails, but the first half of WALL-E is like a masterpiece.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
It's something pretty special they did. But I have a confession. I have still not played Skyrim because I still have God of War.
I haven't. Yeah, and I have the opposite confession. I completely stopped God of War and went back to pretty much Skyrim and only Skyrim.
I'm so far along in the story right now. I'm like, I gotta get to the end of the story. And I got sidetracked on some side quest, and then I realized, I'm like, wait, this is not the main story. I got to get out of this. I got to get back to where I was going. Yeah. And I got to a point, I'm not going to spoil anything, but it was really fantastic at this point that I got to, and it was just, the story was just really strong at that point. And I'm like, oh man, now I got to keep going. This isn't the end yet. So I think I'm nearing the end, but and it's summertime, so there's less time to game and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah, that's been part of my problem too. I've been out hiking a lot. I did, and other things, life. I would like to get back to God of War. I wanted to do, Sean was in. He had an NDA on him for quite a while, but he was in the alpha for State of Decay for months, and as soon as the NDA lifted a week or so ago, he got really sick, and so we were going to do a game talk on that, but we haven't been able to. So now it's been out for a while, so people have been playing it.
Oh, cool. Michelle has a confession also. He went back to Skyrim after a 3-month break. That's right, because last time we recorded, he had said he hadn't played in a while, so he is back.
Welcome back.
At least
you always go back to the one you love.
It's true. It's true.
Absolutely.
I'm ready to go back. It's just that I got to finish this stupid. Because if I don't finish it now, I'm never going to finish it.
Yeah.
So I need to finish it. Or I'm going to leave it there, and Connor's going to start playing it, and then I'm going to miss half the story, and then be super annoyed at that. So either way, something's going to happen that I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to finish it.
Well, I got semi-sidetracked with the season 2 of Character Crusade, and so I created a new character for that, and I did a bunch of recording, and I edited a couple of videos, and but then Stu had some things happen. I guess stuff's going on in his life, so he's had to kind of back out a little bit. So that's on hiatus for a few weeks, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so
I think this weekend
are they going to do
no, it was the 4th. That's Monday.
Monday, yeah.
Monday,
Okay, so they're going to do episode 2. So I have to catch up on that and stuff. So that's what I've been doing. I've been playing with Character Crusade's Unbound series and trying to sort of create my own new version of Fits and Starts and play with it. And there's been some great mods that have come out recently, so that I haven't really had a chance to, Project AHO and a couple of other big Quest mods that came out for Skyrim recently that looked really, really interesting. And some new, there's a new behavior. It's called Character Behaviors Enhanced. I think I talked about it last night a little bit.
Yeah,
I was trying to make it work, and I haven't really figured it out yet. Oh, by the way, Michael, there is, of course, no surprise. Just on the 15th, somebody released a Leviathan axe.
Oh, God, no surprise there. Yeah,
it's a nice model too. Really.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, it is. It's a perfect. It's a really well done model of it. So
it is a good looking weapon. I can see why you'd want to add that to the game.
It sure is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Although useless, since I'll just be shooting arrows anyway. So.
Well, yeah, but whatever.
If I can carry it around on my back to look good, at least.
Well, that's what you have to. You have to have the dual sheath redux, so you have it showing on your. Even though you're using an arrow, you got that axe on your back.
That's
man.
it. Just in case.
It's
just in
there
case.
for everybody to see.
You need that 200-pound giant axe just in case.
Yeah, of course.
And I took the sneaky archer to the most ridiculous end. I've loaded it into Octado's recital.
Oh God!
Oh.
So every time an enemy comes close, and I throw on stone flash, muffle, and launch the bound bow.
Nice.
And so it's now I'm automatic sneaky archer.
Automatic. That even better.
You don't even have to play. You just put something heavy on the W key, and you come back a couple hours later, and you've digged like 3 times.
Alduin's dead. Yeah.
No, to be honest, you're probably caught on a wall clipping into something.
That's true. Probably.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Well, you just got to make sure you're carrying a basket with you, and then the clipping's all over. Just clip through everything.
That was one of my dirty secrets with Final Fantasy 12 or 13 on the PlayStation 2. You could you refreshed your mana or something similar by like running around, right? So I would get to the point where I was all burnt out. I needed to refresh, but it was like 4 or 5 minutes. So I would just hang the controller on the side of my coffee table to just trigger the one joystick, and he would just turn a circle. I'd go off, like get a drink or whatever, and come back.
Oh, jeez,
that's cool. Yeah, it's like taping the stick forward or something.
Yeah. The sneak.
The C key is the automatic walk key on the PC.
Yep.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, you go in the cave under Helgen and just stand by the bear and walk into the wall for 2 days. And
there you go.
You're level 100.
Yeah. Come out and can sneak anywhere. But I never actually did that. I sneak so much anyway. There was no point in me doing it, really. So I pretty much sneak as soon as I leave the cave. So
I haven't started a game without alternate start or Unbound in so long. I don't even remember the opening scene.
Yeah, I haven't either, Ray. It's I don't see the point anymore. Actually, no, that's not true. I did when somebody brought out a mod last year called opening scene overhaul or something like that, in which they dug into the code and found a lot of the stuff that had been changed from the original opening scene, which is actually kind of interesting. So I would encourage everybody to go and find that on the Nexus and just play the opening scene with that overhaul, because it's very different. So I did that, got to Helgen, and then went back to just dump the game, deleted it, and playing the way I wanted. But it was fun. It was fun to see.
Yeah.
Lokier, for instance, has what's his name? Stephen Russell, is it? The guy who does everybody from Mercer Frey to Bellathor and Nick in Fallout 4. He is Lokier, and there's a lot of different lines. It's actually interesting.
Yeah, I play it when I intend to be the Dragonborn.
Okay.
But every other time I have like a save file that I start with and just build whoever I want.
Yeah.
and go from
That's a
there.
good way to be. Yeah,
But I feel like if you're gonna try to go that main quest route,
it makes sense.
If you've played it a bunch, it makes sense to do the Helgen thing straight through. You know.
Yeah, story wise, it's pretty clean. Yeah, it makes it a little easier.
Although I had to explain to my 5-year-old medieval punishments.
Oh yeah,
she comes downstairs while I'm doing my last run through the opening scene, like, and the headsman is coming down. Daddy, why is he doing that?
Oh god,
no.
So then we had this whole conversation about how, like, in the olden days, you know, blah blah blah. This is how they punish people. They had to think of their heads, and then she's big into like imaginary play at this age, right? So she's a few days later, she's talking about like we're gonna catch bad guys and stuff. Well, you made a comment. I was listening to Michael. I'm talking to you. You made a comment in one of your like Lost episodes about how at about 4 or 5, Connor liked to live play Skyrim around the house.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Amelia is doing the exact same thing. Like, I'll pick her up at school. Daddy, let's play Skyrim. I'll be Amelia Cat, you be Owen, or whatever character she picks. And we're always on the lookout for my thief character, Switch. She calls that old Switch. Awesome. That's what she refers to him as. She puts like mud in her pockets so that if he tries to pick her pocket, he gets a dirty surprise, and so on and so forth. Right?
That's awesome.
But anyway, so I had to explain this to her, and she starts talking about how, like, you know, we're gonna catch that old Switch and chop his head off and blah blah blah. I'm like, we don't talk about that at school.
Yeah. Daddy and I are gonna chop his head off. What?
Because she won't be able to give them the context of what Daddy was saying in the olden days. Blah, blah, blah.
Daddy does not want DCS knocking at the door.
I already get called to the principal's office on a regular basis because she's willful and sassy. I don't need to also have her, you know, we think your daughter has violent tendencies. Oh, grown. Here we go. But I have used the olden day punishment, obviously in jest. But I'm like, she was reaching for a cookie or something one point before dinner. I'm like, hey, you want to lose your hand like the olden days? No.
Bring home a set of stocks sometime. And
set of stocks.
That'll take care of it.
Oh gosh, I totally forgot about the running around the house playing live action Skyrim. God, that's been so long. I need to go back and listen to those episodes. That's right, that did used to happen. We used to constantly have swords flying around the house, like pretty much everywhere you went. There were swords in the house. Lay in bed, you lay on a sword. Sit on the couch, you sit on a sword. Pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, when my kids were that age, it was the turtles.
Turtles.
Yeah.
They're still relevant. My 5-year-old talks about them.
Yeah, they are. And
blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
But you also have to understand that I come from the town where the turtles were born. So Peter Laird and what's his name? Kevin, whatever. They both lived in Northampton, and the turtles were invented there. Yeah, so that's a special, special thing. I knew Peter Laird like when he had his little tiny comic store in 1978. So yeah, home of the turtles.
Home of the turtles.
Yep.
It says that underneath the Northampton City sign.
Right under
that's
it.
Right.
That's their biggest claim to
fame. No, actually,
Home
it says some other things, but never mind. We won't talk about this. It's a family show.
We ran into that the other day. We ran into graffiti, and Connor's like, "Whoa!" He's like, "That's pretty intense." I was like, "Yeah, that can happen."
But then he's like, "That's not how you spell that, Dad."
Yeah,
you learned that.
Michelle has a request for a future mod talk is to have Ray explaining how to move your mod manager to Vortex.
Absolutely, I agree. In fact, I tried to out Ray on the Unbound Discord, and he did not respond.
I missed it.
Yeah, no, I agree because I think everybody would like to learn more about Vortex, and I'm so stuck on Mod Organizer, I'm not going to change anytime soon. So.
Well, and I think they've actually made it a little bit easier now. Because when I did it, I had to go through and manually put the mod number in for each mod, so that it would recognize what mod it was. And because I couldn't get it to do any updates or anything, because it just wouldn't recognize what version of the mod I was running. So but since the last update, of Vortex. I plugged a mod in, just from a downloaded file, and it picked it up and put the mod number. And
can I ask you what exactly was it misrecognizing? Because I'm going somewhere with this. So
it wouldn't recognize what version of the mod I was using.
So it thought you were using a legacy version instead of an SE version?
No, it was still SE, because they're specifically SE mods that I've downloaded.
Okay.
Because it doesn't mix up your mods.
All right.
It'll keep them separated.
Well, that's because where I was going with that was because for quite a while, Mod Organizer 2 was having issues where you would download SE mods and say it was mod number 8579, and you'd go to query info on the mod in SE, but it would actually go to mod 8579 in Legacy Skyrim. Which would, in Skyrim, since there's 58,000 mods or something, that's a very old mod. So so I was wondering if maybe Vortex was having the same trouble, and actually Nexus fixed something, because now I noticed with the latest version of Mod Organizer 2, which is like 2.1.3 or something, I'm having no trouble with that anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Well, so I was reading a little bit in the forums, and they're working on a way that they can automatically identify the mods as you download them. So they'll download all into one, one place on your drive, but be separated into subfolders for each one of your games.
How do you feel about that, Ray?
I'm perfectly fine the way it is right now.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Just
idea,
managing it myself.
Yeah. That kind of all your eggs in one basket approach to computing doesn't make me very warm and fuzzy. I do notice they've got they have a few new features that I like, which are and maybe they've had them for a while and just noticed them in the last couple of months. You last downloaded this file on, and it'll give you a date or things like that. So those are nice. I like the new Nexus site design. It took a while to get it all the kinks worked out, but at this point, I barely even remember what the old one looked like. It's and some of those sort of active pages work really well.
Unfortunately, the one thing that they did take away, or at least that I haven't figured out how to do it, is to search for a mod by the mod number. It used to be with the little search box, you'd have 5 or 6 different options of ways that you could search, and one of them was, by the mod number.
Oh, I don't know. If you know the mod number, I just go up into the URL window and type it in after the URL string, and then it goes right there.
Yeah. That's probably easier. I was trying to use their search bar.
Yeah.
But couldn't get it to pop.
I've never searched by mod number because I always figured if I knew the mod number, I knew the mod. So, pardon me. I do like the sort of more live search now. So you can start typing in search query and it'll start to anticipate sort of Google-esque what you want. That's kind of nice. But it does have some issues though. It has some weird. It makes some weird decisions on what to put first in the list.
Yeah.
But it's not Google.
Yeah.
Or it's not an exceedingly powerful database backend, I guess. So.
And the reason I was looking for the mod number was because the name made no sense to me whatsoever. The file name that the mod author used had no relevant information whatsoever.
That can be a real problem. That's sometimes a problem when you download mods, especially if you download them manually too, which is what I do. I never use the Nexus, the button. I always manually downloaded. Some mod authors are really, really bad at naming their mod files. So you'll get one, you'll unpack it, and it'll be called version 1. And you're going, wait a minute, what the hell was that? I don't even remember what it was.
Well, and I notoriously I download everything manually, and so
same here.
I'll open a Twitter post and for a mod that looks cool and hit download, and then go off and do something else, and then a couple of days later I'll come back and just go through my downloads to load mods, and I've ended up with some Fallout 4 mods in my Skyrim folder and vice versa, because I couldn't remember which game it went to at the time, and the name is like, okay, it could go either way. So
there's still some screw ups. I actually noticed recently there's a new-ish version of interesting NPCs, and for some reason, and I think that's why that number 8579 or 8000 something just popped into my head. For some reason, when you download the latest version of that, which is 3.42 in Legacy, and you go to install it, it thinks it's Q-Axis Questorium, but then when you hit the little drop-down list in Mod Organizer anyway, 3D NPC shows up lower down on the list. So there are still some glitches with that going on, and I don't know whether that's backend or if that's the switch over to Vortex or all of the above, or what's going on with some of their issues with that. But I agree with you. I think anybody, if you're doing it in Vortex, it makes sense as well. Doing things manually is, especially when it comes to file IO and stuff like that, is often the better way to go. Loading mods that way, it's very simple. I don't know I'm sure it's even simpler in Vortex, but in Mod Organizer, you just copy and paste them right into your downloads directory, and then just run a query info on them, and boom, you're done. It gives you that sort of added grease on your fingers,
Mm-hmm. There's a couple of ways to do it in Vortex. You can use the button for to load, like the old mod manager did.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can just drag the file right onto a little box on the Vortex screen, and it takes it over.
So we've talked about this before, but it's been quite a while. So has Vortex developed more in terms of what Mod Organizer is like with the left and the right pane, and how you can you can change your overwrites on the fly without affecting your load order, your plugins load order, et cetera, which you can't do in Nexus Mod Manager. Is Vortex getting better at that, so you can move things around without affecting your load order, and still getting your overwrites correct? If you want, say, Obsidian Weather is to overwrite, Static Mesh Improvement Mod or whatever, you don't have to worry about loading them in the right order. You can just install the mods wherever you want, and then just recombine them later on, like you can in Mod Organizer. Is that something you can do in Vortex now?
Not exactly. So okay. They do it. I mean, you can set rules. Mm-hmm. So you can tell it, I want this to load before this.
Sort of like loot.
Yeah.
Only probably a little more intuitive.
A little more plug and play. It's everything is designed to be just very simple. Mm-hmm. And so you can do the same thing in the plugins list. You can create rules in there.
Okay.
That says, I want this to load before this, or load after this, or whatever.
And it will give you like visual cues, like Mod Organizer does, as to what rules you might want to create by like little icons that say this is being overwritten by that. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah. If you load a mod that conflicts with another mod, you immediately get little red lightning bolts.
Oh, nice. Okay, so that's right straight out of Mod Organizer. Okay.
Yeah, and so you go in and you click on it and tell it, it tells you, so these are these files, and it'll give you the list of all the files.
Mm-hmm.
In this mod are conflicting with, this other mod.
Mm-hmm.
And so what do you want to do about it?
Yeah.
And so then you can go in and set your rules for each one of them.
Cool. I would love, what I would love to do is if we could figure out a way of maybe you and I doing a live, somehow figure out a way to stream live both Vortex and Mod Organizer and sort of compare the two. We can figure out ahead of time, say a 15 or 20 mod load order, and then do the same load order in both, and just compare what's easier, harder, or better or worse or neutral about the two systems. I think that'd be really cool to see.
Yeah.
Sort of a side by side comparison, because I know the guys on the Mod Organizer 2 team are working really hard as well, and they've done some. I mean, it wasn't even a year ago that Mod Organizer 2 was kind of just a train wreck. But they've made some really great strides in the last few months, to sort of bring it up to the stability that the old version is still at. So, and actually there was an update to the legacy version. It's now in 1.3.2. It was 1.3.11 for a long time, but somebody had to update it a little bit I think it was for this last creators update for Windows. Anyway, that would be fun to do if people are interested. Maybe we can put together a mod talk for that or something.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool and interesting.
Yeah, because I'd like to learn more about Vortex. I just haven't bothered because Ray has done all the work.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is that, so everything that they do on this is geared to make this as absolutely dead simple as possible. So, one of the things I was thinking about is trying to get Kara to mod with Vortex.
Okay.
Because she's always been afraid of modding and everything. So, try to get her to load this up and just see if it works out as simply as it seems to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been pretty cool. I've had zero problems. Of course, now every game I start will crash, but
clearly, yeah.
No, but I mean, also you're an experienced computer user. I think that's one thing about modding that I think sort of comes and bites people in the butt if they're not comfortable rolling up their sleeves even a little bit and messing with directories and knowing file structures and knowing, even just having a basic understanding of file extensions and how operating systems handle files and things like that, then modding can be a big mysterious nightmare. If you already have a good handle on how computers handle files and how they move, how computers move files around and so on and so forth, then you're a leg up on modding right off the bat. So I think people who aren't experienced with computers in that roll up the sleeves way have bad experiences early on because they get the sort of the kid in the candy store syndrome and load a bunch of mods and then don't really have the patience. And why should they? Because this is a leisure activity, and so screw it. Why should I have to sit down and learn all this crap? But they load a bunch of mods and things crash, and they say, "Wow, this sucks. I'm just going to go back."
Yeah, you say that, but you just recently convinced me to go over to Mod Organizer. And
yeah, but
I would be like a user, but not like I'm not a programmer in any way, shape, or form. I can make a computer go, but yeah. I didn't feel the need for that. Like I'm not I'm sure that you're a better modder if you have those skills. But I'm just sort of singing the praises of, say, Mod Organizer now, because I had that fear, like, oh, I need to like do a dive into some skills that I don't have that is going to impact my leisure time. Whereas really, like, on your recommendation, I watched 2 videos in the end, but I watched just a couple of guide videos. Like in 30 or 40 minutes, I'd gone from, being a Steam Workshop guy to having everything I wanted strictly through Mod Organizer, and it's just working.
Yeah,
it's just working. So I didn't. Maybe there are particular mods that it would require some of the stuff you're talking about, but I didn't feel that barrier was there. So just sort of want to maybe disabuse people of that a little bit. That I found it was basically just plug and play almost. Like you need a little bit of help, but it wasn't like a big guide. It wasn't 3 hours of my weekend. Like, I spent a half hour of my time then I was playing Skyrim.
Yeah,
it's not bad.
Well, but you're probably more of you're a computer user. You're not afraid of computers. I mean, people who are, I think, and I'm not criticizing, that at all. I'm just saying there's people who are just sort of like, anything that I don't want to break it.
Most people are playing on consoles and they can just get them from the Xbox store or whatever. Anyway,
that's true. Yeah.
Spoken like a true member of the PC Master Race.
Yeah. And I think too, there's there's different levels, just like anything else. So, if you're under 100 mods, it's very unlikely that you're going to, run into a lot of conflicts.
True. Especially if they're mostly texture mods and things.
Yeah. And, most people are probably under 50 mods. It's, when you start getting into that upper atmosphere that you really have to, be keenly aware of exactly what's happening with each one of them and, how to build merge mods and, or, merged patches.
Well, I will fess up to something here. Like I was looking at ENBs because Victor's always crowing about his particular one that he likes, Rudy, I guess it is. And obviously some of the other guys that are out there, people out there are running a number of them. And I'm so tired of my Skyrim looking like 2012, right?
Yeah.
But I go out and start researching this and I'm like, oh, this looks a bit scary. Maybe it's not, but that I had that not that terrified I'm gonna go play on a console feeling, but it was like, oh, here comes the work. If I
No, I agree with you, and I sort of felt the same way early on, but the funny thing is that ENBs are probably the easiest thing and the least likely to break anything. That's the funny thing about ENBs. They look complicated, but they're not, and they will. I'm trying to think of a family-friendly way of putting this, but I can't. They will fuck your system and your frame rate, but they can't. It can't break the game.
But it looks really gorgeous while you're going super.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
while you're going super
around like you're over your carry weight all the time, but it's fucking gorgeous.
Yeah, three frames a second. But oh man, the screen archery. Let me tell you what, it is. If you look at some of Gemma's stuff on the Character Crusade Discord server, she does she uses. I mean, she's got 4K and everything, and she uses a lot of. There's a lot of stuff that EMB does, and especially in Legacy Skyrim, with parallax and things like that will take your frame rates down. And that's what, a lot of people that do these amazing screenshots, they're not playing the game. They're modding and
for the screenshot. Yeah,
exactly. They're running these EMBs, and they probably literally are getting 6 to 10 frames a second.
Well, they don't care because their character just needs to stand there, right? Like they turn the game on, take over the camera controls for the console, and just get the shot thereafter.
They do what I do. You just type TFC1 and it locks the scene. Nothing moves, and then you can do whatever you want. You can move the camera around, and so yeah. And that's why you can make Skyrim look better than games like God of War. These is still, but back to my point. we can. I know we don't generally do show notes. We talk about doing show notes once in a while, and then I never. But
to be fair, nobody reads them anyway. So
yeah. There's a great little JavaScript app called ENB Manager and Changer. I think you'll find it on in the Legacy Nexus section. And it works for both. It works. I've used it in Fallout. I've used it in SC. I've used it in Skyrim. It's very intuitive, very easy to use, and it's extremely seamless. You just set things up once you learn what files are necessary for ENB, do a little bit of reading, and then just use this little Java app. You just install it in every game folder that you want to use it in, and then just run it from within the game folder. And you can switch ENBs, you can disable ENBs, you can run EN Boost, which is the sort of the performance section of ENB, which is actually really good. If anybody who's listening to this, and you, Steve, too, if you don't want to run an ENB, but you want to sort of trim up your performance a bit and also save yourself from some of the crashes that may or may not be plaguing you, EN Boost, which is ENB with the graphic enhancements turned off, has a lot of performance enhancing features built into it. So you can try that. Anyway, I'll hook you up with that little JavaScript app.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to every shot being an action slow motion shot.
It won't be. I don't know what you're running for, but there are lots of really good performance ENBs out there that'll make things look better without hitting your performance too much.
Nice.
And, it's a fun thing to experiment with, and trust me, you can't break your game. You just can't, especially if you use one of these automatic changers. It's only 4 or 5 files. That's all you need. So
ENBs are pretty safe then.
They're very safe for your game as long as you keep track. This is where being comfortable with moving files around on your computer does come in handy. Don't get me wrong, but they're very safe for the game as long as you keep track of what you put where, and you go into the game and everybody's upside down and black, and the breeze home is purple and stuff like that. You just take the files out of your Skyrim directory and everything will be back to normal. It'll be fine. So yeah, it's not the kind of thing that's going to break your saves and make you have to reinstall Skyrim.
That's good.
So.
Yeah, I think that's everybody's every novice's fear with modding is that is the game will just melt down to nothing, and then what?
Yeah, and the computer will turn into, especially if it's a laptop, there'll be a sort of puddle of molten plastic on the countertop. Yeah,
and then you just have to delete everything and start over.
Yeah.
I think that's the big fear.
It's funny. We just went through that with a guy on the Discord server on Unbound, and I don't know if he's ever. I haven't looked today. I don't know if he's ever actually quite figured out what was going on. He had just his player character was doing these weird little twitchy movements, and I mean there were 4 or 5 of us trying to figure out what the heck was going on, and he went through everything. He deleted it all and reinstalled Skyrim and everything, and it was still doing it. And I mean, from the beginning, I thought if it's just the player character, it can't be Skyrim. It's unlikely to be hardware related. It's just one, And so finally, somebody came up with the idea. Well, try a different mouse. Is your mouse? Have you got a wireless mouse?
Yeah, maybe the mouse is screwed up.
It's so yeah.
Throws a new AA battery in there and solves the problem.
Well, yeah. As somebody who's done, in my business, I think Ray, you do too. I don't know, but I'm in a very sort of analog, old style business, but I still do a lot of troubleshooting. And when you're troubleshooting complex machines, it's easy to get down a rabbit hole and draw conclusions that are incorrect. And it's often you find something that looks disastrous, and you think, oh my God, this must be like the most incredibly arcane, mysterious, thing that nobody's ever run across before, and I'll never figure it out. And then you find out, a wire got disconnected over there, and so that's troubleshooting can be tricky that way, and that's why novices end up sort of just throwing up their hands and saying, God, this sucks. I can't do this. So
yeah, Adam agrees in chat. Adam, he said he runs ENB Boost also. He thinks everybody should run it, or he agrees that everybody should run it.
Yeah, ENB Boost is great.
His game never crashes.
Yeah.
And Michelle's fear is just breaking Nexus Mod Manager, not the game.
Well, again, ENBs aren't part of Nexus Mod Manager. Occasionally there are data files that you need to install, but ENB isn't handled by Nexus Mod Manager, so you can be completely independent of that.
Yeah.
So you won't break that either.
No fears there.
You will go down. Your frame rate is going to suffer. You definitely need decent hardware to run ENB. That's the big hurdle.
Okay. Yeah.
It's hardware. EN Boost is not. That doesn't apply to EN Boost. EN Boost does not have any of the graphical enhancements. It's very much specifically for performance. So it's actually good for low end hardware.
Oh.
I have one quick question too, if you don't mind. I keep seeing you getting XP for like reading books and.
I wonder if anybody.
I want to know what. I want to know where that is, because that just scratches the old school gamer itch.
It's lovely. It's a little mod called Skyrim XP add-on. I love it, and it adds just little tiny bits of XP. It's not overpowered at all. I should really shut off the messages though, because they get annoying after a while. But you're the first person who's ever actually noticed that, Steve. That's
the only reason I came on the show tonight. I've been just waiting to ask
that question.
I'm done. I'm done. Mic drop. I'm out of here.
Yeah. I don't. In fact, I haven't looked to see. I don't know if it's legacy only, but it's called Skyrim XP add-on. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, I just play Legacy still.
And you can configure it. There's an MCM for it as well.
Nice.
It's called Earn XP for reading in SE.
It has a different name.
If that's
that appeals to a guy like me.
No, it's different. The Skyrim XP add-on gives you little bits of XP for almost everything you do, not just for reading. So,
I thought Skyrim gave you XP for everything you did.
Let me look it up while we're going here. Actually, do I have Mod Organizer? I do. It just happens to be open. What a surprise! Let's see. So
I figured asking was better than grinding through his 500 mod list.
No, it's
I could have gone to Mod Organizer or Mod Watch, but no, thank you.
No, you can sort Mod Organizer in any. So Skyrim XP add-on. And let me just scroll down quickly and see if he mentions an SE release. And I don't see an SE release mentioned. Rewarding players for various activities that can be performed throughout the game, as well as mod added activities with mod support on its way. So yes, he has slowly added mods to this mod, so it will sense different mods that you might have loaded, actively tracks a list of XP activities, and when it detects that you have completed an activity, will reward you with SXPA exclusive generic XP, which can be used towards leveling up any of the 18 vanilla Skyrim skills. So you can set it up however you want. Especially using the MCM.
Nice, because I'm a big fan of exploration in RPGs in general, and like in a tabletop game, you often get rewarded for that, or you reward that as the DM.
Absolutely.
So it'd be nice to have that sort of added into Skyrim.
like inspiration points and things like that. Yeah, it's for the most part, and I found this to be true. It's the mod is a totally isolated mod. It doesn't have any hooks into anything else, so it's very compatible. It's unlikely that it will cause issues if you uninstall it, but as always, it's not a good idea to uninstall mods mid-game.
True.
Also, if you're running Legacy, particularly anybody who wants a little bit of a sort of a quote pro tip unquote, if you're modding in Legacy, don't extract your BSAs. Leave them unextracted. If Mod Organizer asks you, say no. That is not the case in SE, which handles BSAs differently. I only say that because he mentions the mod author mentions that, and I'm just looking at the Nexus page here. But yes, it's a cool mod. It is mod number 87840 for people like Ray who like to search for the mod number. And I don't. Again, he doesn't mention anything to do with. I'm just going to look in special edition here.
Yeah, certainly nothing with that name.
No.
Or variation of it.
Yeah, it doesn't show up in SE. So too bad. Sorry, SE folks. Wah, wah.
Hey, we'll just have to earn XP the old-fashioned way.
Yeah. Well, Michel does not want more XP since he prefers to level slowly.
Well,
he's a slow grinder.
I agree with Michel 100%, but this is not OP in any way. It's very tiny little bits, and like Steve said, it makes a certain amount of RPG sense.
Yeah, for reading the books and things like that, that does make it. Yeah, you're learning more about the
little
world.
bits here and there. It's not in any way OP. It's very carefully crafted to not be that way.
Yeah, because it could very easily go over the top and
completely. Yeah. There are some cool. I'm just looking at the special edition top files today. There's some interesting looking stuff. Add item menu, that's been around for a while. I think it's just ported to SE, so you can add. I guess it's a little bit. I don't know if it's anything like your Hearthfire mod that you were working with, Steve.
Hearthcraft, it's called. Sorry,
Hearthcraft,
if people are going to look for it, Hearthcraft. Yeah.
Hearthcraft, yeah. So add item menu, I think, allows you to. It's either a spell or a shout or a book you read or a little device you activate, and it gives you the ability to select from a huge menu of items that you can take one of. It can be cool for character creation, role playing purposes, and things like that. It's not meant as a cheat mod. So
I'm often looking into ways to do that now. I think you and I talked about this in the maybe on Facebook or something, and just I'd be curious what everyone else thinks about this. But I don't tend to start people at level 0 very often anymore, if you will. Like especially there's a couple of ways to obviously get around. I don't use mods to do the alternate start or whatever, although I might try that out. But you have a save game at some point, and then you just go in and change the race and do whatever you want. But I feel like dropping a bit of gear onto someone or certain skills, like let's actually examine it from the game point of view, right? Like you're a prisoner in Helgen. Well, I mean, they didn't capture you as a baby. You weren't like a cobbler your whole life. Like you were probably up to no good when they threw you in the back of that wagon. So you should have some capabilities. So this idea that well, I imagine my character as X or Y, like, she's an old school legionnaire that betrayed them, or he's a street thug, got on the wrong side of Maven Blackbar, like, whatever. You have these ideas that you want to bump their skills a little bit, but equally, like, I've kind of grown gear or items is another way to build a bit of story for your character, right? So you don't give them the best of everything straight away, but I've gotten more into the idea of, well, like if I imagine this person to have particular combat skills, well, maybe running through Helgen, they're not going to give me the weapon that I need, but I can take an iron version of it to get me started, or that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like very low level, sort of like, again, the opening gear concept from D&D or other RPGs. You know, so I don't know what others sort of think about that, but I'll do the zero start if there's a concept behind it. But otherwise, I'm starting about level 8 or 10 now, with, you know, a few entry level pieces of gear, and like I've bumped a few key skills to maybe 30 from 20 or something like that.
Yep. That makes sense. And then you're right into your story as opposed to worrying about all that beginning grinding, really.
Yeah.
And
no, I agree 100%.
That's one of the great things about that Start Me Up mod in Fallout 4 is it gives you the ability to, you know, completely craft the character right down to the level that you want to start at.
Oh, nice. I'm also hearing the Rolling Stones in my head now. Thank you, Ray. That's a good one. That's a good earworm if you're going to have one. So,
that was the last good album they ever did.
You're too young to know about that.
And you play on PC, so you could use advanced skill.
Okay.
If you want to advance a particular skill.
The console command. Yeah, sorry, I thought you were talking about a mod. You've been talking about mods on leaving.
Yeah,
advanced skill. That's totally how I do it. 100%. Yeah.
There's also since you're playing Legacy, there's also a mod which you may or may not know about called Sky Tweak. So you didn't know about it?
Out comes the pen.
Yes.
Look, if it wasn't on the Steam Workshop until 5 minutes ago, Victor, it didn't exist for me. That actually was the most fun for modding. I'll be real quick. I actually watched a whole video by Gopher on how you get Mod Organizer to run your Steam Workshop mods.
Wow.
And that was the most labor intensive thing, but he's so good at it. It was just gorgeous. I didn't have to sacrifice anything that I really wanted to run and this kind of stuff. So
he is actually a superb tutorial maker. He's just naturally amazing at it. And I'm surprised it's not his actual profession.
Might be a teacher, you never know, or has some of that in his background.
Yeah, I don't know. Nobody knows who or what he is.
True. Well, he comes up once a year to let us know whether or not spring is coming, and then he goes back down in his hole and makes videos.
Right. Yeah, I don't think anybody knows what he looks like. Anyway, yeah. Skytweak is worth. I'm trying to find it, and for some reason, it's not.
But it's just a character builder, is what we're driving at. Like
there it is. It's mod number 33395. So, well, no, that's if you just
it's much easier to search that way.
/Skyrim/mods 33395. And it's been around for a long time. You can do a lot of stuff with Skytweak. You can do more learning the console commands, though. It requires an extra plugin. I think it's called the Grimy plugin or something like that. You have to load a couple things into your load order to make it work. Yeah, Grimy's plugin. But you can get very granular with Skytweak.
Oh, nice.
And but yeah, I did that with my latest Skyrim Unbound character, the orc that I'm playing. She's I started her with she's an orc, so I started her and she has a backstory. So I gave her a smithing skill level of 40. I gave her a what else? I think I forget. I upped three of her skill levels. Started her out at level 10, and yeah, it's not. I don't think that's OP or cheating at all. If you have a goal in mind. And you're playing a character, that makes a great deal of sense. Like you said, you're not starting out as a baby. That's fun to do too, and I've done that with, fits and starts where you just sort of. One of my favorite starts is the robbed and left for dead thing. You just sort of, and you are robbed and left for dead, and you have to survive in this harsh land. That's fun too, but.
My default save is a person, well, just a Nord, obviously, because that's what they give you by default in ragged robes.
Yes,
it's just standing outside of Helgen.
Yeah, in fact, that's the first thing.
Sometimes you want to start from zero, nothing. Yes. Can I survive off the land, so on and so forth?
Absolutely, yeah. That's the first thing I did when I started playing Skyrim on the Switch. Was I spent my first evening playing the Switch, creating 4 saves.
Makes sense. Yeah.
You know, at the entrance to the cave, and since then I've used those to just play different characters,
bounce on different ones.
Yeah.
Let's see. Adam was disgusted by your use of the Steam Workshop, Steve. Let's see. And Michelle agrees with the character, how to tweak the characters. It's definitely not cheating. And he said hold and defend looks interesting.
Hold and defend.
I had not seen that one. I assume it's on the Nexus.
Is that new?
I guess that's possible. I hadn't heard that one.
My only response to Adam is at least I wasn't playing on a console. I was always on a PC. I had at least had the ability to mod my game in some fashion. Could say. Not that he's a console player. But,
I did used to use the Steam Workshop also, though. It was so convenient. It was so easy.
Oh, I see. Hold and defend. Yeah, it's actually been around for a while. It's another one. I mean, it's at 55,000 mods. It's hard to know all the mods.
Really. Yeah, true.
And this one I hadn't seen. I wonder how stable it is. It goes along with some other ones like Tundra Defense, which isn't the same, but it's similar, where you can build your own, or Guild Starter. I don't know if any of you guys have tried those.
No.
Those are all old legacy mods. I always have Guild Starter in my lineup. I'm just taking a quick look through the posts here. So Hold and Defend was uploaded first in 2015, but the mod author is answering posts here in 2018, which is a really good sign. Means that the mod author is active and the mod is not languishing. So that's a good bet. I've never tried it, but if the mod author is still active, I would say it's absolutely safe to check it out and play with it. In fact, I'm going to download it right now.
And it looks like they just uploaded it to SE.
Oh, cool. Good.
Today.
Okay.
Oh, wow. All right. So.
Oh, that's probably yeah.
So
not available for God of War yet, Michael. But
not available for I can't use that in God of War right now.
We'll catch up to you eventually. Sam.
Damn it! Oh.
Foiled again.
Oh God, I got to do something.
Well, you do have to do something. You've got a Breton who's got some Daedric questions.
I do. I know.
I
got to get on that. It's, could I do it while on a treadmill? There we go. Or something like that. No. Yeah, I got to finish this God of War because that's really what's sucking up. Well, and here's the other problem with the whole God of War thing. Because Connor constantly plays Fortnite, I only have these windows where I can actually use the PS4. So I kind of have to jump on it when I can, because otherwise Fortnite is being played.
Curse you, Sony, for having all these amazing
games.
Yeah.
It's not Sony's fault. It's because he goes to bed the same time as his kid.
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem too. Yeah, but I get up way earlier.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
So there is generally like a weekend morning where I can sneak in an hour or two. But yeah. Otherwise, we're in the house at the same time all the time since I pick them up from school. So it's like, I'm going to play some Fortnite with my friends that I just left 5 seconds ago and need to talk to immediately and play Fortnite. Like, oh God. Just want
to take the Switch and go outside and play some sports.
Yeah. Go dribble the Switch in the driveway.
Oh, I love that. That's great. That's great.
Yeah, they don't even use the in-game chat in any way. I guess there is some in-game chat in Fortnite. They just use FaceTime and team up against people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sean does that too. Because the in-game chat can be really toxic.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of other people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm awful. Like whenever I play an MMO, which is rare, but like I hate to admit this, but really I've had some good experiences. But number one, I don't play online games with people I don't know anymore. Yeah. I'm done with that.
Yeah.
Although I have met a few sweet people in amongst the dross, but also like at this point, they're all just extra content to me. Like they might as well all just be NPCs, like just running around. Like they're no different than like the villagers in Skyrim to me anymore. And it's not like a shot at any other person because I'm that to them, right? But I just yeah. So I do all the same kind of things. Like I wouldn't use an in-game chat. I would use like a Discord or something like that. I would play with people I know.
Fault of the game designers, don't you think? Though I mean, to a certain extent, I mean, like MMOs, like ESO, for instance, or Guild Wars or whatever. You do get a lot more of that. They're just NPCs. Destiny, those games, you can interact with people, but it's just not. But on the other hand, a game like Fortnite or Overwatch, that's a different story. I mean, those are a lot more. So it is nice to be able to connect with people. And like
I think the failure is it's not seamless by default.
Yeah,
the default setting in most places is a typed chatting section. So you don't, even if you're grouping with someone you don't know, which I've done plenty. I had a lot of good experiences in the Old Republic, for example, with sort of random pickup parties. Although the best meme I've ever seen is it's from Dungeons and Dragons Online. It's a screenshot and it says pickup groups making every scary dungeon a little bit scarier. But if there was really just sort of like a native voice chat, because that alone, like I think half the rage that people get into or whatever, that's perhaps a strong word. It's just we can't communicate. So you did this thing when I thought you were gonna do this other thing, and I'm typing furiously, which means I'm not using my mouse or whatever, right? Like if you could just flick on a conversation, I think we'd solve a lot of problems. But
it's true. It's true.
Sorry, I cut you off. Sorry.
No, that's cool. I agree with you. And I'm not a huge MMO player. I don't come from that gaming background anyway. I predate that a lot, and I enjoyed it. We played a lot of Warcraft on our home network, but that's long before MMOs ever showed up on the scene.
That was when it was an RTS.
Yeah.
It wasn't an RPG.
Yeah, that's right. It was a real RTS and Age of Empires too.
Yeah. That's what I played too.
Yeah. Those were fun. I mean, and that's how my kids grew up with me. I mean, we played those games on the home network in the late 90s, but so my kids, who are all in their early 30s or very, very late 20s, they have that as their. But I don't know if people listened to the Game Talk where Sean was talking about Sea of Thieves. There are MMOs out there that are. I think they've spent a lot of time working on that aspect to try to make the game less toxic and make it, so that it's not easy to be toxic.
Yeah.
And Sean had described a lot of really, good experiences that he'd had in Sea of Thieves, even though when it released, it sort of released to kind of a few yawns because it just didn't have the content that people were hoping it would. But they're working on that. But there's a lot of cool stuff you can do in Sea of Thieves. And it seemed like the community was a lot more or a lot less toxic than it was in some other games out there that I won't mention.
How do we feel about ESO? I've never actually played that, by the way, but I guess Juan's not here to really give us the skinny.
Yeah,
but how do we feel about ESO in that regard, in terms of being part of a community, et cetera, et cetera?
I've never found ESO to be terribly toxic as anybody else. I mean, I've played a little bit of it, not a whole lot. I'm not a huge fan of the genre. I just don't. Me personally, I love Fortnite. That's a lot of fun. But playing in Tamriel in an MMO envelope doesn't thrill me at all.
I want to be able to play Skyrim on a LAN, like with 2 or 3 other people.
That would be
whatever, right? Like that's the one thing I'd like to just, again, to go back to the idea of have regular friends. It's almost like a version of getting together for your gaming night if you're an RPG player or whatever, right? But I think that'd be fun if there was a way to do that, even if it was just sort of like with Minecraft, you can create your own server, invite people, blah blah blah.
Well, Steve, there is a mod.
Oh my god, of course there is.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
There truly is. I don't know how well it works. I've never tried it, but
yeah, I remember when that came out. That wasn't yeah.
It's also called LARPing. We could all just go outside, get some exercise. Michael's got all the swards.
I do have plenty of swords.
I am not going to go to that level of geekdom. I'm sorry. I refuse.
Michelle, he has about 2,000 hours in ESO, and he'd say it's a pretty nice environment. So
a lot of people love it.
Yeah, Colin I know plays. Obviously, Juan plays.
Mm-hmm.
Keith plays. I know that.
Yep.
So yeah, there's a bunch of people in there. I just think it didn't seem toxic when I was in there in any way. So
no, it's not. I played a lot more Guild Wars than I played ESO, simply because I guess my experience in the Elder Scrolls world, I find it, for me personally anyway, it diminishes in ESO, whereas Guild Wars is different. It's a completely different thing. I enjoyed playing Guild Wars a lot, but I just there's just something about. I hate to go back to this because I say it all the time, especially relating to Oblivion. The Bethesda's character creating team should be fired. All of them.
Tell me more. I have not heard this rant.
And they should hire people from CD Projekt Red and I forget who built God of War. Their characters are just so stilted and crappy looking. Even in Skyrim. Skyrim's the best of all of them. Oblivion was the worst. Potato faces. It just rough, drives me fucking crazy. I can't play that game. And I know that's shallow, and I've said it before. But that's just me.
It's all about looks, Victor. I know.
Yeah,
I know.
It's I'm a whore. What can I say? But the ESO is I have the same problem with it. The character movements and facial expressions and even the looks are just they're crappy.
And you look at what BioWare was doing at the same time.
Oh my God!
By comparison, right? Like, I mean,
Inquisition was horrendous. The first release of Inquisition with the shiny hair. God, it drives me crazy.
I can't. There's no help with this guy. I mean,
it's horrible. It's horrible.
But look at it's like machinima level animation and the cutscenes and stuff. Like you're saying, Skyrim's a bit lousy. I mean, like, okay. I mean, I'll give it to you. I'm not gonna fight you, but I just think that, like, what I'm saying is, around the same time, you look at Dragon Age and other games, I think the modeling was better. Like, say, like in 2012 when Skyrim was coming out. Like, so I'm trying to agree with you, actually, sir. That, like, they really they went so far. You couldn't have taken 3 more months and kind of nudge the graphics a little bit, tie that off. I mean, you remade the game 17 times over the next 8 years. So, I mean,
no, and I give them props for the fact, I mean, that what they did with Skyrim in terms of all the openness of it, that's very, very hard to do. And nobody else has ever done it. I think I said this somewhere recently, but nobody else, I don't think anybody's ever done it as well as Bethesda did it with Skyrim. So you have a trade-off there. But it makes no sense to me how games of similar generations, even Fallout 4, I think the characters are crappy looking, and you know, games of the same era from other studios look amazing.
Well, as you like, Victor, but I'm married for love.
Love? What's that? I never heard of it.
It's one of those 4-letter words that sounds vaguely like evil if you say it backwards.
Oh, no, that was live. Yeah. No, God of War. The first scene where Atreus and Kratos walk out onto that cliff and look out over that, I thought, gosh darn it, that's what Skyrim should look like. And those are what Skyrim, characters should look like. Oh well.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that is a really beautiful game. It's for sure.
It's superb.
And it would be amazing to have it just look like that.
It's even got Draugr in it. I mean,
it does. Amazingly enough, it does. Yes, that is true. It absolutely does. I was like, I feel at home.
Yeah. Yep.
It's good to have them back.
Yeah. So sorry to get off on all those tangents, folks.
But I guess with the cutscenes and all, you can make things just look better, whereas you don't really have those that much in Skyrim.
Yeah, that's nice, but it's easy to do cinematics. It's hard to do, in game.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, easy, okay,
especially if you don't know where the character's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the trade-off with the open world, is it has to have that flexibility
to be anywhere.
To be able to render you, wherever you're at.
No, you're totally right, and that's I think we had that discussion on the Discord server at Character Crusade recently. Was what is an RPG, and are any of these other games really truly RPGs? And the answer to me is no, not really. Yeah. I mean, The Witcher. These are all character playing games.
Mm-hmm.
They're not RPGs, and they're great, wonderful games. God of War 2, same thing. It's not an RPG.
Yeah,
anything where you tell me what I'm unlocking as I level, or you're giving me such limited choice, that's not a role playing game.
Yeah,
right.
No, I agree.
You know what I mean? Like if I'm just started off as Clark Kent and eventually I'll be Superman, but it's all predetermined. No,
right. You can choose a few paths and level up a few skills, but you're still playing the same character all the time. Yeah. And these are don't get me wrong, they're great games. Horizon is another one. I mean, I love that game, but they're character playing games, not RPGs. And there's very, very few real RPGs out there. And Bethesda probably makes most of them. And yes, the Dragon Age games weren't bad, but they are still to an extent character playing games.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're very linear, yeah, so on and so forth. But and so that goes back to what Ray is saying: is you have the advantage of knowing where is a person going to be in a particular scene and stuff, so you can build shinier faces.
Yeah.
But matte hair so that the Victor doesn't go crazy.
God, that's awful. They actually passed it pretty quickly, didn't they? If I remember correctly, yeah. My daughter, I cause occasionally she listens to this podcast, and she's a huge fan of Dragon Age. So I'm saying a lot of this just to piss her off.
Just to annoy her.
Yeah.
Oh gosh,
both Dragon Age and Mass Effect. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I got 2 for buying Dragon Age 3. I got Mass Effect 2 for free for buying Dragon Age 3.
Oh, nice.
I've probably logged a collective 6 hours inside them. I got really unhappy that my fan wouldn't stop running when I was playing Inquisition. So I actually went out and got a new power supply and a new graphics card, the whole 9 yards, and everything. Got it all screwed in there, and then something showed up on a Steam sale, and I've never gone back.
Oh no!
So it goes, well, I'll get there one day. I mean, I own it. And I have this policy. I have a very strict policy of never playing a game while it's new. Like I owned Skyrim for 3 years before I turned it on.
Wow.
Or something stupid like that, just.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I think I already talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's only 2 games that I've ever bought new, and that was Fallout 4 and Fallout New Vegas.
Wow.
Oh, I'm not saying I don't buy them new, Victor. I just sit on them. Pardon me, Ray. I'm not saying I don't buy them new.
That's the problem.
To get around to it.
That's the problem with Steam, isn't it? Yeah, you say, "Oh, a sale! Wow, yeah, boom, done."
Sherry was just talking about
traps,
that,
right? I'm sure we could all appreciate this. Like Michael with God of War, that's it. That's what he's doing. I played Minecraft exclusively, like modding it and whatnot, but I played that game exclusively for almost 2 years.
Wow.
Now, when I first came on ASAPodcasting, I had under 200 hours, and I just started the book club and blah blah blah, right? And then I kind of got sort of introduced into this community of people, and I've just gone down the rabbit hole. Like in the 2 years since then, I've logged an extra 700 hours of game time or something. I know I'm still a neophyte, but the idea is just it bit me. So I haven't played Minecraft in years, right? I haven't played anything else in years. And then you fall in love with the sandbox and everything, right?
Yes, absolutely. And that's not so bad. I mean, I've been playing Skyrim since, early 2012, maybe something like that. And I've probably logged between 360 and various other things, a little over 3,000 hours, but that's over 7 years.
Yeah, it's a long time.
So, that still means I don't have a life, but it's
No, it means your lady knows where you are.
Yeah.
At night. That's all. That's all that means. You're not out starting fights in the bar anymore. Or whatever.
No, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, unless it's in
those days are over.
In Riften or something.
That's right. Nobody loses any teeth in one of those fights.
Yeah.
I also found Skyrim was a great stand-in for D&D and other RPGs and stuff. Like going back to your point that Bethesda's really in the market of the closest to true RPGs. Because I had babies. I was going to school. I didn't have time to be sort of out there Rolling Dice Live necessarily, or my availability to play isn't good enough or fair enough to other people to be involved in the game. So I found that like Skyrim really scratches that itch for me.
It does, and a good D&D game can last 3 or 4 hours per session. So whereas you can sit down and play Skyrim for half an hour and be happy, and
Who does that? I'm sorry, who does that?
Oh no, I said you could.
Half an hour?
It's possible. Yeah.
Steve, I was using the subjunctive.
One has heard that thing is possible. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But it was for the just for the regular people out there.
Those with under thousands of hours.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the concept is there, but yeah. So.
Michelle also has unopened games, as I think we all. Oh no, it's the Kingdom Come Deliverance box.
Oh God,
Sherry's got a great pile of games.
Oh my gosh, Sherry has like a mountain of games.
That Colossus one though, you can leave that closed, lady. Just trust me. You can just leave that one closed.
Really?
It can't have gotten any better.
Oh man,
you can just leave that one closed. That's a coaster right there.
That's too bad. I noticed God of War was on top of her pile there, so it was just in a state of decay too. Yeah.
Well, that's the end of her for a month. We're not gonna hear anything out of her.
Yeah.
God of War.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah.
Wait, no, I think she's supposed to be on the Fallout feed.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's
so
correct.
am I next week. And guess what? I haven't played, and I haven't. Oh God, I'm gonna have to spend some time over the next few days working my character up.
So we could go from fits and starts to like bits and parts or something.
Bits and parts.
I like that. I really like that. I actually recorded 3 or 4 episodes. I never uploaded them, but that character is my first ever attempt at an actual voiced role play, and I'm a little nervous about throwing it out there for people to watch. So,
have you listened to my podcast? Have you listened to my show? Some of the ridiculous things I was doing in the first couple hundred episodes. Yeah. I mean, man, there's no shame or fear in that. I mean, you gotta have fun, right? Like,
yeah. You got to remember, I'm an introvert, so I'm Here I sit on a podcast. And,
Every time I open my phone, your face is on it doing something. It's because he's in his own room, right? Like he doesn't even talk to real people.
Right.
There's the buffer.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah. But no, Giver, like Juan said it best of all people, because I got one criticism about that way back in the day, and I took it to heart and thought about it. And when I stopped being angry, I took it on board. But what really bugged me is he insulted a Hungarian friend of mine just for having an accent. That got under my skin. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. The point was, Juan's like, yeah, you know what? That guy could start his own podcast and read the books any way he wants. Well, you know what, Victor? People can voice their characters any way they want. Yeah. You do you, lady. Whatever, right? Like,
it's true.
And it's fun. It's fun. Like once I got over the fear of that, and I was never good at it, but there were moments like Gallus Desiderius, like this horrible, it's ridiculous. It doesn't belong in the world at all. But because it was so ridiculous, that to me was one of the most fun books that I've ever done. Is just, yeah, for sure. It doesn't belong in Skyrim, but I thought it was hilarious. So there we go.
By the way, here and now, I want to ask your permission to use your Arcturian heresy for my Unbound, because it's a book that's going to figure in my character's role in her trajectory. So may I use your recording of it?
100%. I have 2 quick things to say about that. Number one, like my goal ultimately with this when I started was to complete it, but to create like a community audio wiki.
Okay.
Like when someone comes to me and says, hey, can I use this? Or do you mind if I put this into a video or whatever? Like I look at it as just like, you're just accessing Wikipedia in audio form as far as I'm concerned.
Cool.
Like I really want it to be a community resource. I mean, it's always nice when people sort of say that or ask me that, but it should be out there for people to use and to create and like add to your game and do whatever you want. If you think it enriches what you're doing, like I've talked to a couple of streamers, they're using the books now and again. Do that. That's what it's there for, right?
Okay, cool.
The only thing that I would ask is if it was read by somebody else who's maybe an aspiring voice actor or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like if it's in a video, just like you would find on skyrimbookclub.ca, there's a post for every one of them. So if somebody not me read it, just because they gave their time to me, maybe like, throw something in your description for that person. Because like, it's all about scratching each other's backs and stuff. Because I figure they voluntarily gave me that content, for, to participate, to be part of the thing or whatever, and maybe to build a portfolio or in some people's cases. So I feel I can say yes on their behalf, but maybe we'll do them the courtesy of just, chucking a link to their Twitter. It's all it has to be, whatever it is, just something like that.
Yeah,
I think I read Arturian,
but that's right. I haven't looked back to see whether you read it or not. Okay.
And that's just sort of a comment to the general Skyrim community. Whoever's listening to this show is, feel free to take it. Anything that I read, just run with it. I don't think you'd have to contact anybody else, but maybe just as a courtesy to the other creator.
No, I would always give attributions anyway. So that's it will be in my next recording of Atma's story.
I got to start watching you do Unbound now. I mean, I'm fits and starts. I'm watching the Keiko videos. What are we doing here?
I haven't loaded up. I've only actually edited 2 of them. She's a great character. I want to work hard on it. And it's a great concept that they've come up with for this latest season. So we'll see how it plays out. But
she's a very pretty orc.
Well, that's the whole point. She has. I have some interesting ideas for her. So
interesting ideas.
Well, involving the whole Trinimac / Malakath thing. There's a lot of she has anyway.
There's some good lore potential in there for sure.
Oh yeah. Very, very much so. So I have some interesting thoughts, but the Arturian heresy plays into it quite a bit because of its sort of oblique criticism of Tiber Septim and the Talos myth and all of that. It's a depending on how you read it and how you interpret it, it's a really interesting book. So, I mean, Hjalti, anyway.
Teasers. He's just got little trailers for his series. It's fantastic.
No, it's not teaser for that at all. It's a teaser. It's a well-known piece of lore. I mean, is Talos one person or 3?
Yeah.
Who is he really? Did he even exist? Was he Tiber Septim? Is the Underking still alive? Who is he really? Who was Hjalti? So there's a lot of that is sort of hinted at in the Arcturian heresy. So it's a great book. Anyway, and I want to use it as an inspiration for my orc character to say, Malakath is a fake. So,
the fake Malakath.
Well, he is. He's a fake.
That's true.
Trinimac was the knight of Auriel. He was Auriel's.
That's true. Yeah.
So anyway,
that is true.
The orcs should be, revered. They should be great, not these horrible.
They're cursed people.
Twisted, cursed people.
Yeah.
It's all a ruse. It's all a plot by Boethia.
I always feel like they're kind of noble the way they live.
They are, but the Code of Malakath is it's kind of a travesty.
Yeah, true.
So anyway, that's what I want to explore with Atma.
That's pretty cool.
So that's.
Yeah, this has been the other thing that's been delaying my start of the next Let's Play is I've been banding, like we were talking a few minutes ago, banding about voicing it, and I'm like, God, I don't know if I can do that. Like actually voicing it as opposed to just telling what's going on kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. So
Well, you could maybe start in your own voice and just forego the description.
yeah. I may do that. Yeah.
One of the things I'm thinking about doing is,
especially since it's a Breton and not like, a Argonian.
Give us your
or
best.
something.
Give us your best Bellathor. Come on, or whatever, right? I mean,
Oh God, Bellathor. Yeah. Oh God.
But what I mean to say is, one of the things I've been thinking about doing, and maybe this might factor into what you're doing, is I'm actually thinking about recording the gameplay and leaving certain pauses where I know my character would have to speak, right? Like in conversation sections. So I'm not trying to do it live off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And then, like I use Bandicam to capture anything that I'm recording that I'm not going to stream, and I can get it to kick out a WAV file. And so the idea is, I think I would just like watch back that video footage, and then like with the headphones on, and then when I know it's time for me to do a voice, is just come in and say something at that point, right? And then just merge those two audio files in the end. I'm still working the kinks out about how that would go, but depending on how much time you want to put into it, because I think like off the top of your head is a challenge,
Well, interesting you should say that, because I don't know how much of the Character Crusades content you've watched, but most of his stuff, and he's not the only one, is all voiceover.
He started out that way for sure. It wasn't until stuff like The Passage, where he was doing things extemporaneously, or his Orc Thief, like that was where he really sort of.
The Orc Thief, I don't like at all. I'm sorry.
He started having confidence in himself. There was the only point I was making.
Yeah, no.
That tipped him over.
You're right. I just didn't like that series at all. I found it just, but yes, the early ones, Fleet is all voiceover, right?
Yeah.
So, and
just a capture card on an Xbox, and like,
right. I find that really, I have mad respect if you're going to do that. I find that incredibly intimidating. With my old brain, I don't think I could remember what the hell I did.
Yeah.
Well, you've got it recorded. You watch it. You go back. You call.
Yeah.
You're not John Madden. You don't have to do this live.
Yeah.
And he's pulling out the bow there. I'm not sure what's gonna happen, but
score. No, I find that really intimidating, but I respect the heck out of people who can do it well.
That's funny you say that, because I find it's completely the other way. Like when I've been streaming lately or whatever, or whenever, like I did, I won't plug it here because the channel's long dead, but like I did gameplay on YouTube for like the better part of a year, and I did a fully voiced in character playthrough of a game of Mountain Blade. I played a particular mod that I liked, and I found having to think off the top of my head and do a voice and play a game, whereas like I just recently put up a short vignette on the channel. I ran into a weird immersive patrol, I think, event or whatever, right? So I recorded that, but I didn't have my mic running, and I went back and I talked over it, and I found that so much less, like it was less mental horsepower involved, because I wasn't splitting my attention, because I sort of knew what had happened.
Yeah.
It was like 8 minutes of video. I just watch it, and then I went back and pretty much commented on it.
Do you go back and do it sort of immediately after recording, or do you wait a few days or whatever, whenever you have a time to do it?
That incident was something that just sort of happened. I think I pulled the footage right before bedtime, really, or after bedtime, if we're telling each other the truth. But and then like the next day, I went down there and I found this file. I thought, God, this was interesting, and I ended up looting some armor or whatever. So like, okay, people are suddenly going to notice something's different with my character. I want them to know I didn't cheat. Plus, I've just started using immersive patrols, so to me, this was an interesting experience in the game. And like I sort of sat down like the next day and did some voiceover for it. But I found it less intimidating in the sense that I could just concentrate on that part of it,
Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to also win, or like in the gameplay too. It's interesting because you're going to play better as a player, I think, because you're just playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe story threads are coming to mind or whatever, but then you go back and you just do audio. So you're actually potentially commenting over a more skillful version of you, because you haven't been trying to be funny or whatever along the way.
Yeah, and you've edited out all the deaths and everything. Yeah. That makes sense. I guess I just find it very personally intimidating, because I'm afraid I'll go back and I won't know what the heck to say.
Did you ever read stories to your children in funny voices when they were kids?
Me?
Yeah. You have kids?
No, they were locked in the closet most of the time.
You shouted the classifieds at them as a bedtime story. That's
No,
get a
yes.
job, okay.
We read Just So stories and yes, all of that stuff. But no, I did not
perform like you're performing for your kids.
Yeah,
That's all. That was all. Just like because you're free, you don't care in front of your kid. You're silly and you're happy, and
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to approach it. Yeah.
So for you too, Michael, just pretend you're LARPing with Connor. Sit down, play your guy, and have a good time. And I mean, like, what did you say originally when you're talking about Skyrim? Let's play Skyrim, as it was called back then. You're like, let's throw it up a wall and see what happens.
That's it.
I mean, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. If it doesn't work, whatever. It's free anyways. Like,
that's always the answer. Yeah. But yeah, no, yeah. I think we're gonna try and go a little more in depth with this one than I did with the other ones.
Cool.
That's my goal for the next one too.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a plan in mind. I guess there'd be something Fallout related, and then there'd be a slot afterwards. So that's what I want to do as well. I want to try and bridge the gap between Let's Play and radio play. So I'm gonna do just the voiced character, and I'm gonna take advantage of the old sort of trope from like noir movies where like the detective would talk to himself, and you just throw a bit of reverb or some other effect on there so people figure out. People figure out that, okay, this is internal monologue versus what's actually being said. So I want to try that. And that's also a sneaky way to like still be able to describe the environment when you need to.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to go back and read a lot of Dashiell Hammett before you start.
I read Pulp by Charles Bukowski. I know everything I do.
Oh my God, Bukowski.
Sorry.
Oh, I love Bukowski, but yeah. Have you read Dashiell Hammett?
No, I haven't.
Do.
Now I will.
Go read the Continental Op.
Can I download it from Nexus and just have it read to me while I'm playing Skyrim?
I'm sure you've heard of the Maltese Falcon, right?
Yeah.
Movie? Yeah, he wrote that. That was his. Yeah.
And what's your vote, Ray? Voice or no voice for Michael's playthrough? What do you think?
I think you ought to voice it.
Yeah, I'm going to attempt it. I mean, good thing it's a Breton. I mean, you're not having to do anything too crazy. It's a Breton, It's not like a Khajiit or something bizarre like that. And I'm not going to be a bard like Andrew, so I'm not going to be singing all over the North Country while I'm running around.
Well, I'm not listening now.
No, you definitely don't want to hear that. And I have a basic
My secret
outline.
for Khajiit is to pretend that I'm a very amorous Spanish guy.
That's true. Yeah.
Isn't that kind of what they sound like?
That is true.
A little bit. Yeah.
There's some Princess Bride in there, I feel.
Yeah.
Yes, as you wish.
Yeah. Actually, we're going to see The Princess Bride next week with Carrie Elwes is giving a talk afterwards.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, not next week. What is it? 15th. Sorry, 15th.
Where? Anywhere near here?
In Philly, but it must be touring around, I would assume.
Okay.
It's probably touring around. That would be my guess. Maybe it's like an anniversary year of the film. It's a very good possibility.
I'm on their Facebook page. I don't remember noticing that, but that'd be awesome.
Yeah, so it's in a theater in the city in Philly, and I think we're gonna get to that. I got to grab the tickets still, but they weren't like sold out or anything. But that would be fun. But yeah, Princess Bride. It's like Skyrim.
Yeah,
similar thing, and they have Andre the Giant. R.I.P.
And the Quest of Insanity.
Yes. Yeah, rats of unusual size.
Unusual size, yeah. Basically skeevers.
Yeah, they are pretty much skeevers, actually, now that you mention it. I didn't even think of that.
That's one of the Wild Wasteland things from New Vegas, was you run into rodents of unusual size.
Oh, well, that's awesome. Oh, that's good. Such a good movie. Anyway, I don't know. Do we have anything else?
No, I think that was great. It was a great conversation.
Awesome. So we went over a lot of stuff. Thanks to Michelle and Adam for joining us in chat. Adam bounced a little bit ago.
Not Adam. He was mean to me. Thank Michelle. Michelle's a good Canadian boy, but Adam, you just
trashing your
mod organizer snob.
Yeah, trashing your Steam Workshop use.
I wasn't watching the YouTube show. I'm sorry. I should have been.
Oh, I was going through his. I was able to keep a pretty good eye on it, so
yeah.
I tried to.
Well, he was mean to me yesterday too. So
there you go.
His comments.
Oh gosh, yeah. So thanks to the patrons for supporting the feeds. All that money goes to the feeds, and any extra will be going to the charity event in the fall. We'll know more about that probably after E3 if anything spectacular gets announced.
To Michael's travel expenses for his marathon.
Yes, and flying all over the world to run in races.
You should run to those places. It's like training. Save the patrons some money.
That's a good
put
point.
It into content. You don't have to go fast. Just
but save gas money.
That's true.
That's for sure.
And look you're reducing your carbon footprint at the same time.
That is true. That is a very good point.
Well, when I retire and I go to hike the Appalachian Trail, I'm going to take my Switch with me, and we'll
and a solar
switch updates from the Appalachian Trail.
Solar panel,
solar charger on your head.
Yeah.
That's a nice retirement though, up the trail.
Yeah, that's one of my plans.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. That'll be good. You can join the Facebook group, facebook.com/group/Skyrim Addict where we talk about that and Fallout, of course, and whatever, any gaming stuff, really. What else is there? I don't know. There's other stuff.
The Vault Boy's still asleep on the Twitch stream.
Is he still? We got the update. He's still asleep. Oh, jeez.
Well, we'll have to check it out in the morning.
Yeah, we'll see.
This is someone who's left their camera on, just like Victor did, for 70 gigs of video. Some guys come by and
wake up
because they all have one, right? Yeah. They're gonna wake up and like, oh my god, they think we're announcing something.
Oh, that's amazing.
About 2 months ago, when I did my taxes, I realized that I had recorded doing my taxes too.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah. Thank God I had not. Because I have the divide key on my numpad set to record for shadow play. Thank God it's not set to live stream.
Yeah.
So I was doing stuff on my number pad.
Live streaming taxes.
I recorded all my taxes. Yeah.
Oh, so did you voice that character?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Bellathor, clearly.
There was lots of
that was definitely Bellathor.
Yeah, a few F-bombs and yeah. So,
everything can be deducted, my friend. Everything. I deduct your sister if I could.
Perhaps somebody from the Ratway living near Esbern could have sounded like ranting away. Oh. Well, thanks to Michelle and Adam, of course, for joining us, and for everybody for listening later on. And
it was great. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, guys, for hopping on, and we'll do it again. Oh, the next Oblivion Roundtable is, I believe, the 17th of June. Is our next date for that. So that'll be the next set of Oblivion quests. We're going to do Potato Head extravaganza. In Oblivion.
And the next Fallout feed, is that the 9th, Ray, or is there another one between
schedule? I think there's one on
Saturday.
Okay.
Oh, because is that the one Sherry's on?
No, that's the following one.
That's the following one. Okay.
Sherry and I are on the same one.
Okay. That's a lot of time zones to span there.
Yeah. Yeah, it worked out good with Steve from New Zealand.
Oh, good.
When we had him on a Saturday show. This past Saturday, it was supposed to be Pat, Sarah, and I, and Pat ended up not being able to get on.
Oh, no.
So it was me, sick as a dog, and Sarah doing the which ones did we do? We did small guns, barter, and luck.
Oh my!
So it was a rather interesting show. So this coming Saturday is a play along feedback show for the luck, barter, and small guns, and then the next episode is the 9th, another Saturday, and that is Pat, Victor, and Sherry.
Yeah, I'm doing explosives, and I don't know what the other guys are doing.
I'm doing agility, and Craig is doing science.
Okay.
Spanning the globe with ASAPodcasting.
Absolutely.
It's an amazing thing, that internet. All right, everybody. Thank you again. And I'm going to turn off the feed.
Yeah. Good night, all.
Right.
Good night.